Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today as I give to you video number 2 out of 2, because earlier on, and I'll leave the link to that video right here, we gave you the latest news that was going on in the day, including Victor Osimhen and a certain agent that's possibly trying to get him to Chelsea. Reece James and the rumours on him elsewhere at Manchester United, a new sporting director perhaps. Go and check it out. My reaction to that is over there. In the meantime, since earlier on, up until now, we've had other Premier League games kicking off, and it's just poetry, isn't it? It's absolute poetry. Who would have said that was going to happen to Tottenham, eh? Unbelievable. Have we actually broken Tottenham? And I have to say, if Chelsea have broken Tottenham in that fashion, in that way, where we didn't even play well, they self-imploded and we picked up the pieces, and now they're going into an absolute freefall to absolute calamity, then I'm not going to complain. Because they lost today to Wolves 2-1. And the others have played as well. Arsenal have managed to beat Burnley 3-1, as well as that Manchester United somehow clinging on to a 1-0 win against Luton at home. Talk about scraping. That's like bottom of the barrel scraping. That's just as bad as you can get. And somehow Everton beating Crystal Palace at Palace. So my predictions for shootout are basically in the bin. George is slightly ahead of me this weekend, unless if something changes later on, which is going to be happening tomorrow. And tomorrow we have Chelsea versus Man City. Now, this is your match preview, but before we get into it, to catch tomorrow's watch along, as I will be here live on Younes Talks Football, as well as the review afterwards, where I give you my immediate reaction. Go and subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't done so already. That way you'll be notified, and I look forward to seeing you there. This is going to be a big game, so let's get into it. Chelsea versus Manchester City. Look, the Tottenham game, I came on here and told you guys I don't see us winning. Right, I don't see us getting a result because it's more to do with us rather than Tottenham. I didn't expect in a million years, and this is the beauty of predictions. Anything can happen. I saw, let me get to that point shortly. Tottenham self-imploding to 9 men, and then their manager deciding to play the highest of possible high lines that you could possibly ever play, right? Against a team like Chelsea that have 2 more men than you. I didn't expect that to happen. But the beautiful thing in this game is that anything is possible at the end of the day. Anything. Which is why I give my predictions and I tell you from my honest perspective what I think is going to happen. But I don't say the opposite is impossible. Never. You can never say it's impossible. You can say it's very, very, very unlikely, but you can never say for certain it's impossible. I saw Frank Leboeuf come out, and I know that, to be honest, he speaks honestly, I feel, but there are some times where I think he takes his opinion too far, too extreme. And he decided to come out and say, look, Chelsea getting a result against Man City tomorrow is impossible. I'd like to think it's not impossible. But I do agree it's very, very unlikely. Even after getting the performance, well, not the performance, the result against Spurs, we're having to ask ourselves to now accomplish something on the next level. I told you guys I didn't think we'd get a result at Tottenham. We did in the end, right? But I had it in my mind that the City game, as far as I could see it, is a write-off. Even if we were to pick up some form, it's Man City, guys. And the circumstances that we have coming into this game, which the beautiful thing is that you never know, the opposite might happen. But the things that we have going into this game is that Manchester City are now top of the league. They have the opportunity after the results that we saw today to go 3 points clear. They're on fantastic form. They've won their last 5 relentlessly. The last Premier League game, they won 6-1. They won in the Champions League for fun. And the last 6 games against Chelsea at home, if I'm not mistaken. I think, no, is it the last 6 games? It's either the last 6 games that we've had against them, or it's the last 6 times they've come to the bridge, which I don't think is correct. It's got to be the last 6 games we've had against them. I think it's the last 6 games that we've had against them total. We've lost all of them, and we haven't scored a goal. The last time we beat and scored against Manchester City was the Champions League final. Which feels like a million years ago now, even though it was 2021. But you see the point. And now we're playing the way that we're playing, and we're still 10th, right? We haven't exactly improved crazy from last season. We're going to get a result at home against Man City. It's possibly asking too much. But the one thing going in our favour is that the confidence has definitely increased from last week, or from Monday, where we played Tottenham and we got a 4-1 win. Despite the performance, we got a 4-1 win, and that's the main thing. That is going to up the morale. Nicholas Jackson taking a hat-trick, that is going to increase his confidence, and hopefully that could increase his form. But is it still asking too much to get a result against Man City? Man City look relentless, like I said. They're not perfect. They're definitely not perfect. I don't think they'll win the treble this year, not like last season. Last season they were perfect, but they're close. And they've got players and options that they can go to at any given time, and it's crazy. Right now they got players like Doku absolutely killing it. They can call upon a Grealish if they want. They can alternate between Haaland and Alvarez. They can play both if they want. They've got so much options and variety, it's insane. So I feel like the mistakes that Tottenham made that helped us get a result on Monday, I don't expect at all from a team like Man City managed by Pep. I don't. I think they're going to be disciplined. They're going to have some respect for us. They're going to take it seriously. They're not going to lose their heads. And that just means it's a long day for us, if we're being completely honest. I don't feel like there's going to be a battering. I feel like Chelsea will actually put on some sort of a performance. I feel like that they will give, because of the magnitude of the occasion and the fact it is Man City and they know they're going to take this game seriously, which helps in the chance that we could pick up something from this game. But I can't just ignore the quality of Manchester City and our flaws. We have flaws, let's be honest. We're not perfect. We're nowhere near perfect. We have flaws. And I just feel like for 90 minutes, the quality, the golfing class is probably going to show. I feel like we'll probably have a good portion of the game, much like we did against Spurs, towards the second half of that first half. So after we'd conceded, and then when they went down to 9, we did begin to impose a little bit. I feel like against Man City, there will be a portion. But I just feel like that they're going to eventually get that first goal, and then it's just going to be us chasing, leaving space open, and they'll probably take advantage. So if we get into the team news is basically the same. Nothing's really changed. We're expecting Nkunku and Lavia to come back after the international break, which I can't wait for. But in the meantime, everyone else that was available against Tottenham, unlike Tottenham, where they've got players falling like flies, we have the same players available. So that's one thing. For Manchester City, it's basically the same story as well. Haaland was a doubt, but then he played the Champions League, scored, and for that reason, he's fit and he's ready to go. So this makes life even more difficult for us. So when you look at, like I said, the options that Manchester City have, the quality that they can turn to, everyone that is fit and that's going to be available tomorrow, it's going to be an interesting game, and it depends on what Chelsea shows up, really. I hope it's a Chelsea that really takes it to City and are able to give them a hard time. Somewhat of a hard time. And I think it's for this reason many people are predicting not even just a draw. Everyone and their mother I've seen is predicting a 1-1 draw. Because they don't want to say Chelsea will lose. They want to say that Chelsea are going to get something, but getting a win against City is a bit outrageous and seriously unlikely. So many people are going with the 1-1, that yes, we'll concede, but we'll also score one, and it's going to be a bit tight. We're not really going to have the ball. It's going to be slightly defensive, a bit on the counter. We'll get a goal, they'll get a goal, and that's it. I can't ignore what I really think is going to happen here. I can't. So we'll get into the predictions after I show you the starting 11. So without further ado, let's get into what I think is going to happen tomorrow. Let's get into the starting 11. Here it is. Right, let's get into it. Starting off with the goalkeeper, Sanchez, of course. Who are you going to turn to? Now, even in the Tottenham game, that first half, he was starting to get shaky. I have this tendency, and you'll see on the watch-alongs, every time I'm looking at Sanchez, I'm like, please don't mess this up. Like, I've just got this bad feeling. When they're taking shots at us, I'm not that bothered. I know that he can save pretty well, but it's when he gets the ball, I'm like, please don't give it away. So please don't give it away. Please. In defence, I would go with the centre-backs being Silva and Levi Colwill. And I would put Levi Colwill at centre-back. He was put at left-back against Tottenham, and I feel like he was to blame for that first goal. Yes, it hit his back, and people are going to look at that, but he was the left-back. He shouldn't have been in the centre-back position in the first place to begin with, allowing Kulusevski to come into the box and take the shot. Or to cut in and take the shot. He should have stopped him by the touchline, because you're the left-back. Let the centre-backs deal with you if he gets past you. He didn't do that. Instead, he came too deep, allowed too much space for Kulusevski to run into, and boom. I hope that he returns to a centre-back role, because I feel like that's where he operates best. And alongside Thiago Silva, I feel like is going to be good enough. I wouldn't be against seeing Badiashile, but for sure, I don't want to see Disasi. I feel like Disasi is turning into a little bit of a liability. And tomorrow for Manchester City, this is why I'm saying, look, we got to be realistic here. We have to be perfect. And I don't think we're going to be perfect. That's just asking too much. So this is why I am saying Disasi, with his flaws that he's been showing lately, and he's done it against Spurs, I would rather have Thiago Silva alongside Levi Colwill for this, and that would be the centre-back pairing. At left-back and right-back, I would go Reece James right-back, Cucurella left-back, natural fullbacks, let them get on with it. Reece James, I'm hoping, is going to have a good game tomorrow. It's going to be difficult having to deal with Man City's wingers. We know that historically, those last few games against Man City, Reece James hasn't been great. So I'm hoping tomorrow's a turn of his fortunes. Cucurella, look, put in a good performance and stop Doku if you can, please, because it's looking like he's gonna play. So as long as you can put him in your pocket, that's all I'm asking for. And in midfield, look, we've got to talk about something in midfield. Enzo's not been brilliant, has he? But he plays, because a game of this magnitude, where the game is going to be a bit open, as in we're not going to have to come up against a low block. There's going to be opportunities to spread the ball and pick out players that are making runs and all of that. So Enzo, I feel like, has a chance to have a really good game tomorrow. He's one of those players that, he's not up to par at the moment, but he plays. Because who else would you put? I mean, respectfully, are you going to put Ugochukwu there instead? No, you're going to play Enzo. When Lavia comes back, it's a different conversation. But for now, Enzo, and alongside Caicedo, I feel like defensively, in terms of his physicality and the way that he's intercepting the ball, is great. On the ball, I feel like he's being a bit too basic. We saw what he was doing at Brighton. At Brighton, he was ping pang, bish bash bosh, crazy, just moving about constantly, 1-2s, positioning, like everything was fantastic, right? We're not really seeing that on the ball. We're seeing him win the ball, and we're seeing him defend well and blocking well. But I feel like to alleviate some of the pressure of Enzo, we need to see a good blend of these two dominating the midfield. And tomorrow is going to be very difficult. Because when you're coming up against Rodri and you're coming up against Man City's midfield, where Bernardo Silva's the one tucking in central, or it's difficult, right? So these two need to be at the top of their game. We can't have any flaws tomorrow by these two. So there's that. Ahead of them, it has to be Conor Gallagher. For a game like this, he has to play. He has to play. We need someone who's going to be physical, someone that's going to be direct, someone that's going to be very forward-thinking, and that is what he's turned into lately, which I'm happy with. But someone that's going to do the mileage and cause disruption for a team that likes to move the ball quick, like Manchester City. Gallagher needs to be the guy that's hopefully going to be causing them problems, winning the ball up the pitch, and then in turn Look, I wouldn't be against Gallagher tomorrow having some shots. Go for it, man. It's going to be difficult to break down Manchester City. You have chances on the edge of the box to hit it, because you never know. We have to take every single possible opportunity to try and get something out of this game. And by saying that, I'm not asking Enzo to shoot week in, week out, by the way. Listen, people are criticising Enzo for shooting badly. He shouldn't be shooting, if I'm being completely honest. Look where he is on the pitch. That's like asking John Obi Mikel to shoot. Like, no. Gallagher, yes. Even Caicedo, I don't expect to shoot. I'm expecting the rest of the attackers to do all the shooting. I feel like we don't actually apply too much in terms of the wingers and the rest of the attacking players and doing all the shooting. We're turning to Enzo and criticising him because he can't shoot. Respectfully, he has a dig from 1 or 2 times a game, from here and there. Okay, great. I don't expect miracles from him, though. It's Enzo. And when the time does come, maybe once in a blue moon, he'll smash it into the top corner. That can happen. That can happen to a centre-back. But I don't expect him to shoot. Gallagher, though, yes, like I've said, I hope he is able, if the space emerges, have a dig. And let's see what happens. The front three is where it gets tasty. This is where it gets tasty. The wingers, for me, Sterling on the left and Palmer on the right. Now, by mentioning these two, you know exactly where I'm going in terms of who I've put up top. Palmer needs to play. Like I always say, first name on the team sheet. Without question. And Sterling on the left-hand side, look, I hope, respectfully, I don't feel like there's anyone else that we can really turn to. I know I've called for Mudryk. He came on against Tottenham and really, respectfully, stunk up the gaff, didn't he? We can't have that against Man City. And I know Sterling makes mistakes, but he's direct. And he if on his day when he thinks less, he causes at least some sort of a problem. So Sterling against his old club, I don't have high hopes, but I have some hope. And hopefully, if he thinks less, uses his instinct and just penetrates through, right? Go and do your thing. Just do your thing. I don't feel like he has a great connection with who I've decided to stick up top, Nicholas Jackson. And that is a worry for me. I feel like when it comes to that, probably Mudryk has a better connection with Jackson. But what's the performance that we're going to get if we start Mudryk instead? Look, there's one caveat here that you could argue. Mudryk tends to play better when he starts. When he comes off the bench, he goes blank. I know people call for him to come off the bench. When he comes off the bench, he's blank. But when he starts, he looks somewhat decent, it seems. So that's something for the comments. Let me know, who would you rather start, Sterling or Mudryk? But up top has to be Jackson, because he got a hat-trick last game against Tottenham. You can't drop a striker who's just scored a hat-trick, because he has to ride that form. You have to give him something to ride. It would send the wrong message to have a striker like him score a hat-trick and then he's dropped. Because then for him, he's like, what more can I do? There's a chance tomorrow he could just not play well. And then people in hindsight are going to turn and go, look, he shouldn't have played. We could have gone with Palmer up top instead, right? But this is the thing. After getting a hat-trick, even in that manner, because like I said, I don't feel like he had a great game. But at the very end, he picked up the pieces and he got a hat-trick. Fair enough. But that is what you need in order to build up form. So if he plays tomorrow and he does well, boom, then something starts clicking. The cycle begins. Like I said, goals hopefully generates into form. Form generates into more goals later. Confidence. Goals generates into confidence. Confidence generates into form. Form brings more goals. And, that cycle keeps going for the striker. It's important. So I'm not expecting something incredible from Jackson tomorrow. But, yeah, he starts because he got a hat-trick. Now, if he's not playing well, I don't want Poch to hesitate. If you can see it's not working, then we change. We have the option of substitutions. We have the options of moving players about. We can do all of that. We can bring Palmer central, stick on Mudryk, and then go take it from there. We can do that. So that was the lineup we had against Arsenal, if you remember. So there's an argument to be made here. But let's see what happens. I say we start with this, right? Begin with this. See how it goes. And then make the necessary changes if we have to later on in the game. So That's the starting 11 for me. And like I said, for Parma, look, first name on the team sheet, and I have no doubts tomorrow he'll actually do well. He'll do well. He'll do well. I've got no problems with Parma, and I have full faith that he'll always put in at least some sort of a decent performance. Consistency is the one thing that we need in this team, and Parma has it. So very, very happy. Let's hope he continues, and let me know down below what you think. But that is my starting 11. Now, as we get into the prediction, and I ask you guys to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Be there for the watch long tomorrow as we are live for Chelsea versus Manchester City, and then the review afterwards that will be dropping straight after full time. I will give you my honest prediction. I would love to come on here and say, you know what, I think Chelsea are going to get a win. Yeah, Chelsea 2, City 1. Yeah? And I know there's going to be people that say that, and for the ones that are going to the game, respectfully, think that, because the stadium needs that sort of belief and atmosphere. But respectfully, we're playing Manchester City. Our form at home stinks. We've got 1 win in 13 at home. We've lost the last 6 against City. We've not scored a goal in the last 6 against City. We don't look perfect, and they look bloody good. So I am going to say that I expect a somewhat decent performance from Chelsea tomorrow. And I think we will score. I think that's the one deadlock that we will break. We will score tomorrow. But I think City get 1 more. So this is what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to be a battering. But I'm going with Chelsea 1, Man City 2. Respectfully, I think that's the honest result that I can see happening. I've seen Man City fans and neutral fans all saying 3-0, 3-1 City. Everyone is saying 3, right? And not giving Chelsea anything. If they give them something, it's a goal. I'm going for something less. I'm going for 2-1 City. And I think it will be tighter than City think, but I still don't think there'll be enough for us to be able to take on and win against a team like Man City. Right now, I just don't see it. So, and if it happens, it would be huge, because when we were looking at these fixtures, the 7 fixtures, if you remember, before playing Arsenal, well, the one game that I just put an L on definitely was the Man City one. So, look, let's see what happens. If we somehow get a result against City tomorrow, and it's proper, then it could kickstart the season, because you take a win like that, and then you get Nkunku and Lavia coming in. Who knows what's going to happen at that point? So, look, and like I said, anything is possible. Tottenham lost today, so they're into free fall. Tottenham fans are looking to throw themselves off bridges and all that, you know. So you never know what can happen. Maybe Chelsea and Tottenham swap places by the end of the season. Who knows? Maybe they end up in 10th. Maybe we're in the top 4. Anyway, let's see what happens. But let me know your honest predictions down below, and I will see all of you tomorrow on the watch long. So be there. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a good one, people. See you tomorrow. Take care, and peace.